difference maker here.
Yeah, certainly we wouldn't think Element Mystic would make the mistakes Talon made.
No,
this is
I would imagine
definitely going to be a team above in caliber, but you start to believe...
Element Mystic bunker comp, I'm waiting.
That would be wild. For a team that doesn't jump off Sombra, that plays mostly Sombra Doomfist, to suddenly go that way, I just throw all the books out the window.
I will eat my shoe if EM play a bunker comp.
Well, let me get on the phone right now then, because I want to see that shoe being eaten, so...
I lost that bet once. I made a cake shoe and ate that. It was delicious. I don't wear it though. That would be gross. And this is indeed going to be...
Sparkle on the Genji is not uncommon, but they are going to go back to a Sombra Goat, to the Sombra 3-3, not technically 3-3. This is actually going to be a full-on mirror. No more Doomfist. We want to now see how just the two Sombras and the rest of the Goat squads line up.
And maybe that's it. Like, we were talking about potential mirrors with Mija going on to Doomfist. We never actually talked about the mirror where Sparkle goes on to the Zarya, but that's the one we're going to get. So for our first time, we're actually just going to have mirrored compositions here.
Nice flank, by the way. It's going to put a lot of early pressure onto Silver.
Yeah, Milan Run as well. He ends up getting finished off on the side by Undyne, able to slip that one through, get the headshot. So T1W getting beat back soundly here. This is looking much stronger right now for Element Mystic.
It's also going to put Doha several tens of charges ahead of his counterpart as well. He does eventually go down, but Element Mystic is still winning. It's 47 for Milan Run and 75 for Doha.
That's the thing. He does go down, but the damage has been done. So 2 ticks, 3 ticks, it'll be a cap out without too much trouble, and that's in the one contiguous push as well. So T1W still no ultimates quite yet brought to bear.
The big ones are the defensive ones. Look at the side of Weir and Illusion. They're barely at 50%. That means when the EMP drops to a super quick EMP charge, nothing to stop him.
And that's the thing. Here, Element Mystic don't have a lot of ultimates themselves. They've only got the one, but it's the EMP. It's been the only one they've needed many a time before, and that seems to be true here as well. Already off to a huge start. Milan Run the only one to not die on the side of T1W. 2 ticks. They'll try and stall out, but this is going to be so difficult.
Here's a fun fact. Oh, okay, we are going to get another contest. That's a big connection.
That is decent, but Silver still goes down. They find Sparkle in response, and Hanbin. So T1W are going to barely hold on there. That was nearly Element Mystic keeping tabs on the respawners, but Milan Run just barely able to slip out there, get that EMP.
I'll tell you my fun fact anyway, because I feel like you all deserve it, but I was about to say, Element Mystic were about to finish A and B without T1W getting a single ultimate, and that would have been true, but T1W came out, they flooded back and let 2 ticks go. 97.3% EMP from Milan Run, connected big time, allowing T1W to get the rest of the ultimates in play as well.
I don't find that pack very fun.
T1W do.
Yeah.
No, Element Mystic do.
Yeah, I was going to say, High B though, speaking of T1W, he's already down. Good grab though, means they're able to start putting on some damage. It's still Element Mystic, I would say, coming out the better of the trade, but for now it's relatively even, and that is with T1W having a closer respawn. But Illusion going down as soon as he was unhacked and could commit a sound barrier, he dies. That's all the Element Mystic need to keep the pressure on, and I said T1W had the closer respawns, but they need to start getting some counter trades again, because Element Mystic are the ones with all the ultimates, and that's going to be them still on the point, while T1W are stuck in a grab. That is a solid offense from Element Mystic. And super impressive as well. That was just fairly one-sided from them. Aside from one bump in the road, okay, ooh, what was that? Keep on driving, doesn't matter, get to the finish line regardless. And for Element Mystic, this is now, so far, outside of, I would say, Sanctum, being the most one-sided of the, you know, halves or rounds that we've seen in this particular matchup. T1W possibly a little bit shaken up after that, and we did expect, look, going after one-on-one from the break, Element Mystic are like, okay, time to go to the next level. And we did also say we really wanted to see T1W repeat what they were able to accomplish on King's Row in getting a full hold on one of those more static points. They weren't able to do it on A, they weren't able to do it on B. In fact, they were barely able to get fight wins at all. So, I mean, based off that alone, you might start to say that King's Row is the outlier in all this, but it's not quite over just yet. There is still T1W's offense. There is still potential time banks, and maybe it's actually a one-off fluke for Element Mystic with the mirror matchup. And I'll tell you what, we're on the opposite side now, because it's not going to be a case where now T1W defend and they get that they get the completed A-hold again, and we're in a position where they're now the ones having to attack, and they have to have a good enough attack to go into a time back where they then can defend again and maybe complete a full hold, because that was essentially the King's Row scenario minus time back part of that. If they want to repeat that, they got a lot of work to do. And I think that's the thing. gone back and forth so much already just in the scope of this matchup of who has to measure up, who has to step up, put in the work, and turn things around. And right now,
oh boy, here
it's
we go.
T1W.
Yeah, he's just on the Doomfist. Sparkle's not here to play though. Come on, I want to see the Doomfist on.
So what? I've been good. I came all the way to Shanghai. Come on, entertain me. Give me that one mirror matchup.
Mija might even just go back to spawn and swap at this rate. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But for Element Mystic, they see this composition now. One of the few times in Officials War, unofficials, where you'd have to say, okay, they're playing up against something that they should be masters of.
Doha gets the full rope-a-dope on Mija there. Might even just solo kill him. Is indeed going to get that. That is absolutely nuts. When I say rope-a-dope, I mean Doha was on the high ground, dropped down just as Mija went up and would have connected with him with a rocket punch. So, I mean, T1W just have to sit back and wait. This burns a full minute.
And you look at the rotations for T1W as well. They already started looking at going up the stairs. They wanted Mija to be on a flank. And Doha's his basically 1v1 assignment. Go find the Doomfist, go hack him out and win the 1v1, which he does. And then T1W's like, okay.
And then Mija again. Now he's getting the Sparkle treatment. It's what they were doing to him for the first couple of maps.
And T1W had to put so much in that sleep dance, shield bashes. Right now, it's Mija just kind of finding 5 strikes to the face, finding hacks to the face, and Doha's already got an EMP. Surprise.
And look, that is the difference between these two teams and their Doomfist, is how they get enabled and, by extension, how they can be shut down.
Oh, boy.
Oh, are you kidding me? Mija's the only person to have died up until that point, and it died 3 times. There's also 2 men down now for T1W, who are still going to press into this fight, but they need to get another kill to really make it worth their while. They have a slightly closer respawn, but they're going to be waiting for a lot of those respawns now. 3 casualties, they back out.
The only reason Milan Run is even getting close to matching Doha for the EMP is the fact that Doha has not used an EMP despite getting it super early. Element Mystic definitely looking like they're playing with the food at the moment. Their attack was insane and their defense is looking just as insane.
Yeah, shoes on the other foot, right? It's starting to look like someone else is going to be shut out on point A of a map. It's not over just yet, though. T1W, if they can start finding a bit of space to play with, could be a different story.
Look at that hack.
Absolutely massive EMP, though, and with the Earth Shatter as well on top of it, just to add insult to injury. That's a pretty clean and easy clean up. Also, floating to your death out on the moon is a very slow way to die, so even more time burned off the clock now for T1W.
And it's 3 quick fights. I mean, it's a lot of time gone, but it's also the fact that T1W have not gotten any trades. They haven't really removed Element Mystic from the defensive position. Let's say you actually get Alpha Gun, you get Sparkles out of there, you actually get a kill. They have to taxi him back. They have to wait for that respawn, but that's not happening. T1W don't have anything.
No more Mr. Nice Element Mystic. That's the vibe I'm getting from this one. They suffered 1 loss and they committed to hopefully not suffering another one. This is looking like the beginnings of a shutout here, but T1W, last pass potentially EMP out and committed. Undyne's got the answer in the form of the Transcendence. So now Grav going to be committed from High B. Can they get anything done with that one? They have to
need more damage.
Even more ultimates just to stay in the fight, and that's without having even got the kills. Now Mija, nothing. And the grab from Sparkle catches all those members of T1W, most of whom are going to find themselves dead and in the respawn room. In fact, all of them will. That's a team kill.
And this is the thing, when you start throwing ultimates into the mix, who has more to play with? And that answer is going to be Element Mystic, and they have double support ultimates. Guess what? T1W just have a sound barrier. Nano Boost, not going to be a big factor in there. You want to play your EMP, you want to play your Grav, both will be counted out by Element Mystic, but you do not have enough ultimates to counter out all of theirs.
Doha now sitting on that EMP. Just wants to catch them in rotation. No hesitation.
Oh, that missed most of them.
Silver, though, he got stunned out as he was committing his Earth Shatter. They found Hanbin, so this is an opening at long last. T1W have a numbers advantage, but with Illusion down, no longer is that the case. 5 versus 5. Hack on Mija. He could be in trouble here. Though has solo killed him before, but keeps the pressure on in return.
Watch Milan Run. He's nearly on his own EMP. That could be the factor that really swings things.
Ivy's dead. They've only got 1 healer right now as well because Illusion went down, but they're getting the kills in. They pile on top of Element Mystic, and that EMP is indeed enough. So T1W not going to let themselves get full hell just yet. Will complete a cap. Now need to get point B in a timely fashion if they want to stay competitive here.
And I want to say that was the first big whiff we've seen from Doha this series. I know Element Mystic have dropped the map, but it wasn't really because of specifically Doha.
Yeah.
He dropped an EMP that got blocked out from LOS and hit 1 member. Then T1W, okay, well that's the biggest ultimate gone. Let's push in now. You don't have enough to deal with us, and that's what happened.
I mean, that's also with cancelling Silver's Earth Shatter. Like, there was still potentially, it was still potentially winnable rather than, let's see if this fight is also winnable. Hybe already down. Nice timing on the Transcendence there from Undyne, all pretty expected up until this juncture. Now T1W, they do get the 1 kill back on Hanbin, but they are retreating. And that was also with a boop onto Milan Run as well to remove him from adding damage into the fight. And after dropping a grab, that is a very well-defended position for Element Mystic, who, with 3 minutes and 15, it's a decent amount of time to work with, but it took T1W a long time just to get A. And this is where Element Mystic just want to start leading into those ultimates once again, rotating from tool to tool until they bring T1W to one-fight territory.
That's a decent first pick.
Yeah, Mija is going to give himself a nano boost, get on top of some members. Nearly found out Alpha there on the Meteor Strike, but not quite. Only the 1 pick so far, and Undyne will come back into the fight now. So T1W, not quite the resounding success they need. EMP now out from both sides.
Good counter.
One has a good connection, but T1W with the sound barrier able to stay in the fight. Now they're starting to get a few more kills. Mija, who was off to a slow start, starts to get a few more.
We're going to see respawners here. Sparkle and Alpha have ultimates, but we need to stall the point out.
Doa, they can finish him off. They will finish him off, and if they can keep a lid on the rest of these respawners, there you have it. And we're going to time back.
We certainly are. This is where it gets dangerous, because if you're EM right now, you're thinking, okay, we hold B, we don't allow this to go to a time bank, and we don't allow us to be in a position where we lose the map like we did on King's Row. That's not happening anymore. We're now in anyone's territory. Look, it still seems pretty favored for Element Mystic overall, but T1W seem to be winning in cases where you wouldn't expect them to, and Element Mystic are not expecting this.
This is, I mean, all bets are off. Like, how many times can we say, oh, shoes on the other foot, shoes on the other foot, shoes on that foot? Like, how many feet have they got, right? Like, this is just an octopus of a matchup right now with about 7 different pairs of shoes. I was going to say stilettos, but that would have been a bit too weird. But at any rate, yeah, suddenly now we're in a position where, like we said, if we go to time bank, if T1W can repeat the defensive success that they had on King's Row, then it feels like it's them who have it in the bag. But I just don't know anymore.
I honestly felt like it was going to take T1W all 3 minutes to actually complete the game, and the fact that they actually did it in about 2 attempts, something like that, was pretty insane from them. And if they even got it in time bank, I would say that's pretty good from T1W. This is beyond that expectation. This is at the expectation of, okay, we're beyond just staying in the game. We're now in the zone of actually potentially winning the game.
This is incredible. I mean, this is exactly the sort of matchups we wanted to get here at the Pacific Showdown. So far, this is totally delivered. Once again, T1W, though, will be on the offense as they have the shorter time back at about now, 2 minutes. So, can they do it?
They kind of have to cap here. If they don't cap here, this time back doesn't mean a lot. They need to have a defendable position if they want to complete a full hold. And, oh, that was sneaky.
Yikes. Took them a lot more than 2 minutes as well to cap the first time around, but Stone doing a decent job of putting pressure down. They've actually already found a tick, so good.
Look at the charge, Doha, what?
Right, yeah, I don't know how he accomplishes that. This is criminal at this rate, but T1W starting to dislodge Element Mystic's positioning, forcing them back. Good biotic grenade as well. Alpha might be in trouble there.
They're completely off the point. That means 1 tick is about to go. In fact, it's already gone.
Yeah.
And look at Element Mystic. They need to heal up. They need to go back in. They need the EMP.
And that's going to be a nano boost already out onto Mija. Does get hacked, so he can't get too much from it. T1W should be on the point by now. I'm not sure why they're not. They're wasting their own time. Finally getting down onto it. Might secure a second tick at this rate. Indeed, they will. Where is Element Mystic?
Waiting for the EMP, which is now available. Doha has to go in.
It could just be answered if T1W finds some picks. Against 4 members, that could be enough in itself, especially with Silver down. Hybe as well will follow him to the grave, so T1W going to get forced off this one, but with 2 ticks already gained, that was decent. They've still got a minute left as well.
And honestly, that could have still been winnable for T1W if Illusion had the sound barrier. He's about 6-7% off when it happened, when the EMP dropped. And for T1W, getting 2 ticks is already a big deal. If they actually fail the push now, 2 ticks is defendable, but I gotta say, if you really want to win versus EM, you gotta get the completed cap here. It's gotta be Milan Run, it's gotta be Hybe doing the work, and Element Mystic are stacked on ults.
Look, here's the thing though, they got 5 ultimates, but when you're EMP'd, you've got no ultimates, so if Milan Run can connect this well enough, they could still win the fight. It's look at this tough though.
Undyne already hiding on the side, kinda. Undyne already receiving the armor pack.
There they go, gonna look on top of them, just biding their time. They're gonna wait out the Transcendence instead, as it was used in response to the grab. Now maybe they can use the EMP later. Indeed they can. There's the sound barrier though in T1W. bleeding from the mouth on this one, but not dead just yet. They're still in it, and now they're the only ones with an ultimate available in the form of Mija's Meteor Strike.
What's the
if that can find a pick, if that can find an anything, there's so much charge on High B as well. They're keeping the pressure on.
Overtime.
No one dead just yet on either side. Dar's got another EMP though. How does he do that? High B's down, Illusion's down. They only found Undyne. This Meteor Strike suddenly is a last gasp, and it's not going to find them any more progress on the point. 82.6% is what T1W will have to defend up to. Element Mystic, 5 whole minutes.
And that's the kind of push where you're just holding your breath, waiting to see if T1W can actually make some kills happen because they survived the ultimates. They would use their own ultimates as well. Got into a position where the only thing remaining was Mija's with the Meteor Strike, and that's not going to be the one that really swings the game. Kind of needs some combo factor. So realistically, we're actually in a neutral position. Both teams kind of have no ultimates outside the Meteor Strike, which again, I don't really count here. And in that position, in that neutral, Alpha gets the first pick. It's 6v5. T1W in trouble. They're not getting a counter trade. Mija's not finding anything. He's getting hacked out. He's getting found out. Finally uses the Meteor Strike. Can't do much with that. Wasn't going to do much with that. And that's T1W. Happy with 82%, but not as happy as you would be if you actually capped out.
Like you said, that is the position where you'd like Mija to be the sort of playmaker that Sparkle so often is able to be for Element Mystic. And every time they've been in that position, I have to say Mija unfortunately hasn't really delivered for this team. They've just done too good a job of keeping him disabled in one form or another. Element Mystic have, I mean, either by way of hack or stun or death. Death is the best form of crowd control, and Mija's just not had too much of an impact.
I'll tell you what though, this is still a tough game for Element Mystic. They're kind of barely winning this in some ways. Maybe that's not paying them enough respect. They'll say they are definitely winning this, but it's not easy. It's super competitive. You can see it on their faces. You can see the fact that we're even in time bank. We're even in this position. This is not where they thought they would be. And with 4 minutes and 50-something seconds, you'd expect them to get 2 ticks and more.
This is where we go back to what worked for them previously. T1W are going to be on the Sombra Coats. Element Mystic came out the gate with Sparkle on the Genji. They see what T1W are running and they go, all right, we'll go back to our own Sombra Goats. It worked last time, it'll work again. And
honestly, T1W, they don't have the buffer like they did on Kings Row. If they want to repeat that performance, it's got to be even better because it's 82%, not 100% that Element Mystic are looking for.
Big move in. They found Silver, but it's traded with Alpha, so not quite the steamroll that Element Mystic are looking for, but they have forced T1W back a long way.
It's going to be a pretty even trade so far. T1W slightly longer respawns. Element Mystic should be able to take high ground control as they are, and they're going to get another kill.
That's massive. I mean, to say nothing of Doha often outstripping his opponent. It's easier when they're dead, and actually for what it's worth, Milan Ryan was ahead up to that point, but Element Mystic, more importantly, on the point itself, Undyne for High B. You'll take that trade if you're Element Mystic because they're getting even more Sparkle picks up too, and it almost certainly is. Sparkle finds a third. Alpha's going to take out his counterpart, and with that, Element Mystic are going to take apart T1W on the point, secure Horizon Lunar Colony. Kings Row was the speed bump. EM is still on top.
And EM, Element Mystic now just kind of swiping, or rather wiping the sweat off their brow on that one. Look, it was still tough. I will say Kings Row, you're probably right, was a speed bump, but it's still a pretty bumpy road overall. You're not on concrete anymore. You're not on asphalt.
Yeah.
This seems like a country road to me. First speed bump, will there be another one? Will there be one as big? It's probably smaller ones coming up, and we did say a 3-1 result still would be a pretty decent win for Element Mystic, but this is a team we expected to 3-0.
But if you were T1W, you would be disappointed with a 3-1 result because you'd look at that and you'd go, we got that one. Why couldn't we repeat that success? That's going to be on their minds right now. If they could do it once, you want to show that you can do it twice. You want to show that you are genuinely competitive against what some consider to be the best team in this tournament.
And I want to see if this can go to a map 5. I want to see if T1W can come in for map 4, win that one, take us to a tiebreaker, and that is truly where anything goes. But that's what we have to look forward to. You don't want to miss this one. We'll be right back with more Pacific Showdown. Here we go, guys. We are into potentially map 4 and 5 of this series. I do want to see it go to 5 because T1W are looking like the first team to really challenge Element Mystic in a long time. Element Mystic coming back with full force, and let's see what happens in number 4.
Right, I don't care who wins it at the end of 5, but I would love to see a 5. I think everyone else would as well. Like, I mean, this isn't even arguably what should be our closest matchup. Our closest matchup at the tournament theoretically should be the grand finals, right? And this is first seed from Korea against second seed from China. Already, we're seeing some speed bumps as we've been calling them for that first seed from Korea, and the competition only gets tougher from there. Also, we now go into T1W's map pick.
And this is where I think with a double elimination format, you're going to see a lot more chances for these kind of matches to come into play. Whoever loses this one goes into the lower bracket, and that could still be a very good game. You wouldn't expect it to be EM. Surely everyone in the lower bracket is rooting for EM to actually win this so they don't have to face him in the lower bracket. But T1W, look, they got the home fans here, and they got a lot of going for them personally. This has been an incredible game, and they could take it further.
I mean, sure, you'd like to say they're cheering for EM so that you don't have to play against them in your losers bracket match, but like, is there not a point where you'd also like to not have to play against T1W? Like, they're the team that just took a map off EM. No one's done that for a very, very long time. They're also looking like, honestly, a team that you can never stay ahead of in terms of compositions. You can't read them. You can't anticipate them. Maybe it'll flop, but it's succeeding often enough. It succeeded against Talon well enough earlier today, and it's even had some success against Element Mystic. I actually think both of these teams are inherently threatening to, it would actually be order in that losers bracket.
I do want to see if T1W can kind of continue the competitiveness, because we have a 1-map win for them. Horizon, decently competitive. I would say, you know, first map Nepal, decently competitive. Now we go into map number 4, where if this one is maybe a little too one-sided for EM, assuming they win, then maybe you start questioning them again. Maybe you start saying, okay, EM took a little while to get into their group, but once they do, they look fantastic. But if, you know, if this is now a 3-1 and it's still competitive the other way, it's still competitive overall, I'd say T1W have a great shot for a deep run into the tournament, even if they drop down.
I mean, there's even just the world where you talk about gauntlet seeds and stuff like that, because I think something that was present on people's minds coming into this, we've talked a lot about the 2 regions with only 1 team and what gauntlet seeds mean for them, but also for these other regions that have 2 teams. If you're the second place team from your home region, you don't want to come to this tournament and be the team that lost your region, a gauntlet seed. And right now, T1W, like you said, making a potential deep run into the tournament also helps secure those gauntlet seeds.
And certainly you wouldn't want to be the team, regardless whether you had 1 team or 2 to lose a seed, and T1W are going to try their best to make sure it's not going to be them. Assassin coming back in, Amija back out. I think this could be it. I mean, this is now going back to a lineup where, go back to King's Row, I think this is what they played, right? So this is going to be where they're going to find a lot of success, potentially.
I believe it was, I think actually Mija was in on King's Row, but they did have Assassin out on Nepal, which was
so yeah, he played, but he didn't play Doomfist. That's what got me tripped up, because I was like, well, is that Assassin then?
I mean, is it really Mija if it's not Doomfist? But I mean, to speak to Assassin, they did play him back on Controllers, I was just saying, on Nepal, and that was very competitive in many ways. We also have another sub on the side of Element Mystic. Takoyaki is going to come in on that main tank role over Alpha.
And this one feels a little bit more, I don't know, like a bit of a coin. It's kind of 50-50, right? It's kind of a coin flip where both sides are actually heads. And with Element Mystic, despite who they play in the main tank positions, pretty decent results. You can't really see too much of a change up, and most people feel pretty stumped. I mean, give and take, it's just, you know, they've almost blended into the same player.
I think I know what it is. I made the joke about like an octopus wearing a lot of shoes because it's got a lot of feet. Takoyaki is like, it's like an octopus. They're called octopus balls because like they're ball shaped, but it's octopus. So I don't know, maybe. Look, I'm grasping at straws here, okay? Maybe that's like this is another pair of feet or something. I don't know. Add a few more to that octopus. Yeah, well, hey.
How far those feet reach?
How far those 8 tentacles reach?
Enough to get them a map 4 win, potentially.
Potentially.
I'd say more than potentially. I'm still very much. Look, let's be fair. You definitely still favor EM in this kind of matchup. It's been close. It's been 1 map gone. You call it a hurdle. It hasn't been enough for you to really say T1W are definitely going to be able to win this just yet. You feel like the upset is available
I mean, it says a lot that we've been calling it a speed bump and not a stumbling block, because to me a stumbling block says you trip up and you have to scramble to get back on your feet while the other person is getting ahead of you, and then you've got to catch up. That's not what that map loss was. If anything, immediately afterwards for EM has been, I don't want to say return to situation normal. It has been in as much as they're winning the maps again, but it says that, you know, the loss in there is like, it's T1W playing really well, you know, catching Element Mystic in certain places, dealing with certain team compositions that Element Mystic run, but that's not the be-all, end-all of this matchup right now.
And I will go back to saying, I think even if T1W eventually lose this one, if that's the case, then you still credit them for the performance overall, because they come into this tournament as a reminder.
Yeah.
Most people's list would have them at number 6. You also have a case where they themselves didn't really feel super confident. Now we're starting to think, did they just bait that one? Or was it, hey, just kidding. Actually, we feel pretty good. Actually, we are pretty good.
We're like, no, we'll win.
Because this is the kind of team where, as a reminder again, 2018, go back to last year, T1W would have been a name synonymous with, like, best team. One of the best teams.
They literally are a name synonymous with winning. That's what their name is, but you're dead right. I think something we should maybe consider here is, if nothing else, even if they walk away with the loss here, what they have done is they've shown absolutely everyone how to deal with the Doomfist Sombra composition that Element Mystic are so famous for, that has beaten so many teams with so many play styles, and that's a weakness that will remain exposed.
Or at least it's going to just open up some doors and open up some questions to say, okay, they're, you know, obviously not invincible. We all know they're not really invincible, but no one's actually done the deed. That's the problem. Is everyone's saying it, but no one's actually been able to go and be able to take their map, or be able to push the series far.
I could beat them if I
like
wanted to. I just don't want to.
I could do it when no one's watching. Yeah.
It's like that really braggadocious guy in the bar who you know is telling absolute lies.
I can only perform when no one's looking.
So the guy who'd be like, yeah, I actually beat John Cena in a fight. It's like, but did you? Yeah. Did you really? Have you even met him?
It's the kind of guy that says, I did beat Eagle Gaming, but, you know, you didn't.
Just the most egregious lies, right? Absolute gobsmack. It's like the kind of guy who sits there saying British Hurricane could beat Runaway. Whew. Don't at me. But, look, so both teams taking their time getting into this one. There is a bit of a delay.
Sounds like you were atting someone there.
So, well, yeah, that's how you work, right? You at someone, and then you say, don't at me. You know, it's like, haha, gotcha. It's like no takesies, backsies, you know? That's what that is. This is playground lore, okay? It's a wild world out there.
So what you just said is you just won King's Row, but I'm expecting that person to come back on Horizon.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pay for what I've said here tonight, but nope, I don't really have a good segue from there anyway. Element Mystic are looking good coming into this matchup. I do want to zero in a little bit on that main tank change-up, because like you say, it's almost like the two have merged into one. However, they're not exactly one. Like, if you're making a substitution, you clearly feel that there is something Takoyaki could bring to the table that Alpha can't. Even if that something is freshness. Maybe Alpha said, my head's not in it. I'm not feeling it right now. Let's put our other main tank in. Maybe this is going to be a refreshing
I will say, and this isn't even Element Mystic's picks, but we are going to Junkertown, and we did see Junkertown. I'm fairly certain Takoyaki was playing this in that grand final for Korea, or yeah, pretty sure in that case. So, I don't know. It's an escort map choice. It's a player that comes in for this particular game mode.
Yeah. T1W.
Certainly has to be a connection there.
I mean, T1W picking that map, so I'm looking forward to this. Like, Junkertown is the one map where reliably, regardless of meta, we see all kinds of team compositions. Very reliably, we see Pirate Ship. I would expect one or maybe even both of these teams to at least give that a bit of a punt. We could see other things as well.
I would say T1W might try it. EM are not going to try it.
Yeah, no, that's why I say one or both. Like, I'm covering my bases there. None or one or both of these teams might play Pirate
Somebody
Ship.
might win today.
There is a chance.
That's a hot take.
That one of these two teams will win the match.
Crazy, right?
Just the most conservative analysis. I'm seeing a Bastion as well.
So T1W are going to maybe attempt this one, just rotate to the other side, get Milan right into position, and now for Element Mystic. Look, Sparkle's on a Zarya and not a Doomfist. It's kind of up to Doha to maybe try and dismantle this.
That is a Mei, baby. This is also a Symmetra.
The Symmetra's there to get the bunker mobile.
Yeah, this is interesting. Like, they're not actually really playing the card. This isn't really Pirate Ship. I mean, this is I don't know, some kind of
high-tech pirate ship.
Mobile cannon emplacement. I don't know. Hanbin, though, stuck up thanks to that ice wall. They also open up on Takoyaki, now looking to find Doha exposed as he is on the cart. Will translocate out, but Undyne has no such escape tool. He's going to go down. Unique's going to go down, and it has opened up. Element Mystic so busy playing for the cart, and
I'll tell you what,
Run was never there.
This is orbital bombardment. This is them nuking from orbit because that's the only way to be sure. And T1W right now in a very nice position. Element Mystic changing things up pretty big time. Sparkle back on the Genji. This should allow him to deal with at least Milanra just slightly better. Look at this position. That's wild.
I'm absolutely loving this. They're enabling a lot of this as well, using Assassin to create interesting angles, to create close quarters in what is otherwise a wide open space.
By the way, you know it's bad when Doha doesn't have an EMP just yet, and look at this position.
Sits pretty and unfortunately doesn't receive the healing he needed because Hybe was hacked out. Brilliant execution there by Element Mystic. The light wall to try and turn things around, but without the damage that they can get out from someone like Milanra, it's a bit hard to really make the most of it. Hybe's trying to do what work he can. It's the supports getting the kills right now for T1W, but even they have to hunker down and hide right now. Hanbin will get D-Mech. Good sleep on Hybe. Just buys a few extra seconds. He eventually goes down, and Element Mystic have forced back T1W for now.
And honestly, the support wasn't quite there. The protection for the Bastion wasn't quite there. They're going to stay on the composition, and you're right, Assassin still to play. Might even get staggered out, but T1W have reinforced.
Yeah, they've come back in. Assassin does get staggered out, though, so them coming back in is unfortunately a big mistake. That was also with Milanra committing an ultimate. T1W maybe trying to put the cart before the horse on that one. Could have chosen to fall back and come back in with those ultimates, instead find themselves in a slightly tighter spot than that.
And I go back to the original death that Milanra suffered as well. He even received a nano boost, went down anyway. If he stays alive, there's the amplification matrix, there's the supercharger, there's so many different tools for T1W to dish out that damage. And from Element Mystic, they're able to just get the correct picks, keep T1W down. Even with the reinforcements, wasn't quite enough to get in there. Gotta keep Assassin on the mate for now with that Blizzard available.
This is good discipline out from T1W. They go, look, we can't get back on the card with this team comp. They've still got a lot of work to do, though. Oh, man, absolutely cut down. That is insult to injury. Like, that is kicking you in the teeth and then, I don't know, stealing your wife, right? Dude gets his ultimate eaten, gets sliced in half by Sparkle, and then the team just loses the fight.
It's picture perfect. And Element Mystic, I mean, they've got the kind of composition now which you'd expect not to really deal with a GOAT's kind of composition on the side of T1W, who are going to go back onto the Sombra with less than 1 minute remaining. Not really any ults to play with. Element Mystic looking very comfortable.
T1W, look, they knew they had to change comps to get back on this card, but they also did so knowing they didn't have much time. They were really relying on that Blizzard to be the tool to do it for them. Nice hack here.
Surely this is a pick.
Look at Takoyaki just spinning around, absolutely panicking. He knows he's exposed, but he's still not dead, would you believe? Finally goes down, but by the time that's been done, the two tanks of T1W have been picked off themselves. Now the Brigida goes down. We are rather in a bit of trouble. They are going to have to pull back, and less than 20 seconds left.
And to be fair, with that timer remaining, T1W will get an EMP available where Doha does not have one. In fact, there's not even a support ultimate there. Nano Boost doesn't really count as a counter, so T1W have opportunity to finish the push.
They've got to go, though. They tried to keep a lid on Doha. They do stop getting in the backside. Now Undyne committing himself a Nano Boost. Sparkle trying to go forward, gets the blade available now, but they won't quite get the combo of those two illusions down, though. There's the EMP. Hasn't found Sparkle, who could come in hot. Indeed will with the blade. They start getting even more kills. T1W getting nothing but nothing with what little they had to work with. An Element Mystic just get it all. Every ultimate finds its mark. That is a massive hold on Junkertown.
And this is the thing, when Sparkle's throwing hands, you catch one of them, but the other one still hits you in the jaw. And this is where the Genji comes through that's still so good. Before, he was known for his Doomfist, he was known for his Genji. This is a reminder that's still on the table for this team. You're looking at an Element Mystic squad right now that is on the precipice of this 3-in-1. They've managed to complete the full hold onto A, and T1W are in hot water.
I mean, this is absolutely beautiful, right? This is exactly what we wanted to see from the likes of Element Mystic, having to dig just that little bit deeper maybe, but still looking like the absolute dominant force in this tournament, certainly in this matchup at least. And like I said, a phenomenal hold on Junkertown, and now they barely need to push through to point A to win.
And I look back at Nepal. I look back at Sanctum specifically because this is, again, where we saw an Orisa kind of bunker-based composition where it could work. It looks like it probably might even work in certain circumstances. I believe that was true for Sanctum. I believe it is true again now for Junkertown. Looking at how we started things out, they were basically shelling down against the side of Element Mystic, who had no response. But as soon as the compositional swaps came through, note they didn't have any ultimates to play with. Their best charge was Doha on about 50%.
Yeah.
He usually gets way more than that, even if they lose a fight. So you know EM are not doing well if he's only on 50. Coming back in, no else to play with, they immediately get Milan Run out, who received a nano boost. It seems like the idea from T1W reasonably correct. Execution seemed to have some few errors there. Once they lost the keystone, the entire bridge fell apart.
And that's the danger of Element Mystic as well. You know their baseline of execution is incredibly slick. And that's just the baseline. They can go so far above and beyond that as well. Now coming out the gate, they're going to go back to the 3-3 with the Sombra.
And T1W know they don't have a lot of space to play with or time to play with, so they got to get aggressive. They got to take the fight to Element Mystic and try and snowball.
A lot of low members already on T1W who also are already trying to pull back, reeling, taking a lot of damage. And Element Mystic just forcing the issue. Silver's going to go down, having to cover for those supports that were so low. Now Hy-Vee as well. Milan Run could be in trouble. Weir might be in trouble. No one else going to go. I say that. Milan Run goes down. Whatever. And
you look at the target focus from EM, it's so clean as well. They put a lot of damage onto Weir. They see the armor pack being thrown in its direction. Guess what? That means Silver can't receive it, so they go and focus on Silver instead. Instantly getting picked up once the resources are gone, and now they're way into the lead. Doha expectantly has an EMP.
They do at least get Milan Run back. That late pick nearly cost them utterly, but 6 versus 6, certainly not an even one. Like you said, Doha has the EMP, connects it. Unique did get picked off earlier, but you'd rather have Silver 3 alive. T1W losing the other tank as well, and suddenly they've got nothing left to go on. The EMP is nice from Milan Run, but they are not getting the mileage. That's a decent timing on the Transcendence, but again, stun on Milan Run, damage isn't there. Element Mystic, as good as you expect them to be, punch their ticket directly forward in the winner's bracket.
And this is where for Element Mystic, I don't know if they've shown their final form, but that was at least the next form. And for T1W, they angered the Giants here. They really poked and prodded. They woke them up. And for EM, it's not going to be a 3-0. It's going to be a 3-1 where they do have to relook at Kings Row and say, probably shouldn't have lost that one. And I think for T1W, outside of Junkertown, which is definitely EM favored based on this result, based on what actually happened, the other maps outside of Kings Row, you still got to go back to the fact that Nepal, reasonably close, go back to Horizon, reasonably close. T1W have a lot to be happy with, but also have a lot to work on.
I think we could also take a look again at that one map loss that Element Mystic did suffer. Look, maybe it means that that's something that can be shut down now, or maybe it really means you can shut that down and there's still so much more they can do. They're still just so good at the other things they can play. You've got to shut down a lot on the side of Element Mystic if you really want to have a hope of overcoming them.
And that's the thing, T1W got close, and let's see if any other team can get close, and that's a lot to look forward to in future matches. We haven't even seen every single team play yet, but so far I'm already impressed by what we have seen.
There's only one team that we actually haven't seen play yet, and that team is LG Huya.
Yeah, they're still coming up a little bit later, and I think for this one we have some fairly expected results. I think the only one which was could have gone either way is still T1W versus Talon.
Yeah.
People now, again, rewriting those power rankings based on those results, and Order going down probably a little bit too easily. That said, though, if you came into this tournament, you're probably expecting, 0-3 versus 0-2, probably the kind of result you would expect from AU versus Korea 2. But at the same time, going to this tournament, everyone, including Order, said this team is actually pretty good. Didn't happen that way. And now we have an unexpected result in the fact that T1W, them all Talent, whoever goes up against EM probably doesn't take a map off EM, and that did happen.
And that's the thing. I mean, T1W have already been the major shake-up, the major force of change coming into this tournament. So we'll have to see if that can serve them well, because they do unfortunately move down into the losers bracket in spite of all those positive things that we can say about them, and their opponent will be Order as well. So Order, we said earlier, when they suffered their loss, they would at least get to watch this matchup, see who they're going to be coming up against. I think actually with T1W getting the map win here, Order might feel that little bit less confident playing against what is still ultimately the loser of this match.
Yeah, well, they certainly would prefer facing T1W rather than EM. I think that much is clear. But they still are, in terms of matchup, they do still feel better against going up against DPS or Sombra-based coach composition than, say, the straight 3-3 mirror versus O2. But that's still for a little bit later. That's tomorrow's matchup. For the rest of today, we still got one more to go. But for this particular matchup, I think EM, they're obviously done for the day. This is 3 now out of 4. And EM kind of get to go into tomorrow, kind of maybe rethink this one a little bit. They did clean up towards the end, but you expect them to maybe even start on the level that we ended at. Junkertown, that level could be where EM stays at for the rest of the tournament.
And like we said, EM come into this tournament obviously as the team to beat, not just because they're the first seed out of Korea, but because they are so incredibly strong. Like, we all know that they're strong. You can just look at how they play and you're like, wow, that's good Overwatch. And unsurprisingly, they take the win.
And let's go ahead and go to the winner's interview here with Element Mystic. See what they got to say.
好的，欢迎回到我们的赛后采访环節，我是妮娜呢，站在我身边的就是 Doha 来跟大家打个招呼
Doha here
吧。
from Element Mystic. Please introduce yourself.
인사해 주세요.
안녕하세요. 엘리멘트 미스틱의 서브 딜러를 맡고 있는 도하라고 합니다.
好的，欢迎Doha来到我们的赛后采访，非常有礼貌的一个小哥哥啊。那我首先要恭喜你们是拿得了这场比赛的胜利，虽然比分咬得稍微有点紧。
So it was a little bit more tight than we probably thought. What do you think about the end result?
축하드립니다. 지금 점수가 차이가 너무 많지 않은데 지금 기분은 어떠신가요?
오늘 솔직히 상하이 뭐 중국 대회가 처음이기도 하고 그래서 긴장을 많이 했는데 팀원들이 좀 잘해준 것 같아서 쉽게 이긴 것 같아서 좀 마음이 편하네요.
我们是第一次参加这种国际性的大赛，
It's the first time coming to the competition like this. First time in Shanghai as well.
比赛的话，最开始的表现不是很好。
We didn't start off too well.
之间沟通得很好，然后一
I
起
think
配合，
towards the end,
夺得了
we
胜
fixed
利
up。some communication
还是一
and
个
got better
非常
synergy.
不容易的一个过程，对不对？那刚提到你们队伍是第一次参加这样的一个线下的比赛，特别是来到
being
上
that this is
海
your first。
那我
time
们
coming to
作为东
Shanghai,
道
this
主
kind of
也是要
event,
欢迎一下你们。
we do
想
want to
问
welcome
一
you
下
here.
Doha 对于上海的印象怎
What
么
do
样呢？
you think about Shanghai so
그럼
far?
상하이에 대한 인상은 어떠세요?
생각 외로 경기장이 되게 좋고 약간 한국 컨텐더스와는 다른 느낌이 있어서 좀 색다른 것 같아요.
上海的话比我想象的还要好。
It's even better than I
然后这边的氛围
expected.
也和韩国不一样，所以很
It's
新
very
鲜。
different to Korea.
很新
It's
鲜，很
a
喜欢，
great
也
new
欢迎
experience.
Doha 你们战队能够多多来到上海。那接下来问到比赛当中啊，因为今天的比赛打的真的是挺精
So
彩的。
this match
那
was
很
actually
多
very
观
close.
众朋友们可能会认为他的黑影呢是
So
一个整队
a
的
lot of
一个
people
亮点，
do
特别
believe
是
your
几
Sombra is
波
one of the
操
best
作
parts of
非
your
常
team
的
though.
细节。那他是怎么样评价自己的黑影呢？
So how do you rate your own play
경기에서는
as
상대
Sombra?
팀이랑 우리 팀이랑 둘 다 막강했잖아요. 근데 많은 사람들이 우리 더하 선수가 그 선브라 기술을 잘 사용했다고 생각하신대요. 개인은 어떻게 생각하시나요?
저희 팀이 솜브라 조합을 굉장히 많이 사용해 왔고 솜브라 조합 자체에서는 어느 팀에도 질 것 같지 않은 느낌이 있었고 그냥 처음 대회라 조금 실수한 것만 고치면 아마 우승까지 무난하게 할 것 같아요.
我们队的话，我们非常擅长使用黑影技
So
术。
we're very experienced
如果
with
是
Sombra
同样使
compositions.
用黑影技术的队伍的话，我们不会输。所以这次
And we
比
feel
赛
like
的
if we
话，
play
如
Sombra,
果我
we
们
probably won't lose.
不产生失误的话，是有信心能拿胜的。
哇，
So I think if we just
非常
keep
厉
doing
害
what。we're
那我
doing,
想最后
we
问一
should
个
be
问
able to
题：
win
你
the
们
rest
队
of the
伍
match.
在接下来的比赛当中会主要贯彻这样子的黑影体系，还是说会给我们带来不一样的阵容？
Do you feel like you'll keep playing this kind of Sombra composition, or do you have more in store for us that we haven't seen yet?
다른 솔루션이 있으신가요?
저희가 숨겨둔 전략이 하나 있긴 한데 아마 솜브라 뭐 위주로 쓸 수도 있고 뭐 돈피스트 쓸 수도 있고 3-3 쓸 수도 있고 숨겨둔 전략을 쓸 수도 있어서 이거는 시청해 보시면 알 것 같아요.
我们队伍的话还有一个秘密武器，
We've still got a
所以
secret
我们的话
weapon.
有可能是以黑影技术为主，也有可能会使用秘密武器。
So maybe we'll keep playing Sombra, maybe
好的，
we'll
我
show you
们
the
也
secret.
会坚信我们接下来我们这支战队可以给我们带来更加精彩的表现。好的，那这以上就是我们
Alright,
这
well,
一轮
that
环
is
节的
Element
一个
Mystic
赛后
taking the
采访。
victory.
那我们稍事休息，一会儿
Great
再见
words from Doa, not to be confused with Doa, the Overwatch League caster. Very different people. But that's going to be it for match number 3 as well. When we do come back, it will be the final match of day 1 for Pacific Showdown. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you all soon.